Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Testing Mini Bytes. I am your friend Amudan Shaktivel, and today we will see another interesting topic about how we can execute our test cases in Selenium standalone Chrome container. Good. So before going to this particular video, I also want to just do a recap of the previous sessions. Okay. So one among them is the key points that we need to understand from the previous video is whatever the Docker image that we see in the Docker hub is all built using some Docker files, right? So, and all these Docker files, or they have all the application dependencies. Suppose if I am running a Chrome container, okay, this particular Chrome image, okay, will have all the things necessary to run the Chrome image. It will not depend on anybody else. That's the important thing. And Docker container is an instance of a particular Docker image. Okay, suppose in Java or your oops programming languages, we have class. Based on the class, we create objects, right? The class remains as a template for your objects. The same way, the image is going to remain a template for your containers. Okay, so you can create multiple containers from a same image, like the way how we can create multiple objects from the same class, right? In object oriented programming, so we can just do a correlated comparison so that we can understand it better. And next, we have a lot of Docker commands, right? I try to, just paste almost 9 commands here, and we will try to cover this in this particular video itself. Okay, so this is just a heads up. Again, so coming back to the agenda, so we'll try to do. We'll try to pull the Selenium standalone Chrome image because we need to pull those images into our local so that we can use it, right? So in terms of bomb.xml, what we do, we add the dependencies so that it downloads all the necessary jar files, right? So same way, what we have to pull this particular image. Then we need to start the container for this particular image, and we'll also see how we can run the test in this particular image, and we'll also understand what is port mapping in detail, right? So, and then we'll also see how we can do the parallel execution with the help of the standalone Chrome container. What is the problem with this particular approach? We'll see at the end. And without wasting much time, I'll go back to my Eclipse workspace. Okay, so good. So this is the test, right? This is a normal test that we have written, right? So, and this is very simple test. What we are going to run this particular test, not in our local. We are going to execute in the Docker containers. Okay, to run this, we need the containers, right? So to we need the containers to build a container. We need image, right? So if I go back here, okay, and this is the particular image that we are interested in now, right? So if I want to pull this particular image, okay, I can directly go to the command prompt and write docker pull and then give this particular name. Okay, so it's Selenium. The author is Selenium, and stand alone hyphen Chrome is the image. Again, if you want to mention the tag specifically, you can do that. If not, it will by default take the latest tag. Good. Now in this, you can also mention what you're going to pull. Okay, normally all the Docker commands will start with Docker, and you can also mention image, right? So if you don't mention, it can implicitly understand that you can only pull a image, right? So you cannot pull a container. So Docker can implicitly understand that you are trying to pull an image. Even if you mention this, or if you don't mention this, that's absolutely fine. But I would suggest, please, try to use this Docker image pull, something like that, so that it's more meaningful, right? So maybe Docker will get rid of using something like this in the future. So get yourself adapted to this, right? So good. Now I'm just trying to pull this particular image from this particular Docker hub, right? So from this particular place, I'm just trying to pull this particular image. That's what we are going to do. In my case, I already have this in my local. Okay, if I remove that again, and then if I pull it back, okay, it will take some time for the download. Okay, so what if I type this, right? Let's see what's happening. In your case, it will do a lot of downloads, like for 600 MB or 500 MB, whatever the image size, it will do the download. In my case, it already, I already have this particular image, so it's telling it's already available, so it's already took this, right? So now I have this particular image in my local. Now I have to create a container. I have to create an object for this particular class, right? The same way, I have to create a container for this particular image. So to do that, you can just type docker container create. Okay, and then create is the command, right? So I am going to work with the container. That's why I have given container. In previous case we used image, here we are using container. So create, and what I want to create, I want to create a container from which particular image, okay, using this particular image, right? So you can copy this and then paste it here. Good. Now let's see what's happening. So it should spin up a, it should create a container for you. If you notice, this is the container ID that it has created. Okay, this is the long container ID it has created. Let's see. It didn't do anything because we are just created the container. We didn't used it. Okay, so you can imagine that you have just initialized this particular object. You haven't, assigned some value to this, something like that, right? So it is just created. Now I need to start this particular container. Okay, to use this. Okay, so I can tell Docker container and start. Okay, and then give this particular, you again, this is the whole idea, right? So if you are not interested in giving the whole thing, you can also give only half of this, right? So I, this is just for the Docker daemon to understand what is the container it needs to start now. Okay, you can give like this. If it can understand, okay, then it is fine. So it'll try to start this particular container for you. Yes, whenever it is printing you back the container ID or some part of it, it means that your content, the command that you ran, is success. Good. Now we have a container created, right? So let's check whether it is created or not. To check that, you have to type docker container and then ps. Okay, good. Now it is telling yes, it was up. Yeah, docker, this particular docker container was up, and it has exposed a port. Okay, um, to understand this in detail, maybe I'll open up Paint, so that I can give a diagrammatic representation how it looks. Okay, suppose consider this is your docker, right? So this is your docker. Okay, now what we have done, we have created a container. Okay, in this, so this, we have created one standalone container. Okay, this is your Selenium standalone Chrome. Okay, Selenium standalone Chrome. Okay, we have created this particular container, and what it has done, it has also exposed you some port. Okay, if you notice, okay, it has exposed some port here. This is 4444. That's what they have telling here, right? So if I go to this particular place, it is telling it has exposed a port. Even you can understand this from there. This is their image, right? This is the details about their image. This is the docker file they used to create this particular image. If you notice, they are exposing a port on this container. Okay, again guys, container is, assume it is a machine. So what happens, okay, you have a machine now. Okay, you have a machine that is exposing a port 4444 because, okay, you, if you want to run your test, you need a port to delegate the test, right? This is the port that we are interested in. So it has expose this particular port. Okay, now everything looks fine. Okay, if I run this test, will this run? Okay, let's check. Run and test ng. Obviously the test will fail. I will tell you the reason why. Okay, so we are running one simple test, everything looks fine, right? So hopefully it should work, but it will not. Right? Let's wait for the failure. See, it's telling it's not able to reach this particular. Okay, it could not create a session because there may be an invalid address, right? It could not find the particular, anything here. Okay, so what is the problem? Okay, whatever the local host that I have mentioned here is my machine IP, right? So this is my machine, port 4444. So I need to do a link. So what happens, consider this is your physical infra. So this is your physical infra, that is, you can consider this, is your my laptop. Okay, my laptop machine is having a port. So what I'm doing, I'm delegating all the Selenium test to this particular port, but this is nowhere related to this. Okay, this is a separate entity here. Okay, this is a separate entity, and this is a separate entity. These two have no relation between them. So what I need to do, whatever that is coming to this port, I need to delegate to this particular port. Okay, whatever the request that is coming, I need to delegate to this container port 4444. So while creating the container itself, we need to do this. Okay, so it is just exposed and it is not linked to anything. So now I have done something wrong. Now I want to stop and remove this container. Again guys, in terms of Docker world, we will not try to do a lot of stuff. Okay, we will not try to edit it. We will not. No, containers are like, use and throw glass. Okay, you use it, you throw it. That's it. If you don't like it, throw it back. That's the beauty about container. It's not like virtual machine where you go and fix all the errors. If you don't like it, just stop and remove it, and then you know uh, get rid of that particular container and use a new one. So now that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop this particular container. Again, guys, if you notice, this is the particular container that is running, right? So, and this is the name of this particular container. If you are not naming your container anything, it will have its own default name, right? So now I want to stop the container. Which container I need to stop? I need to stop this particular container. Again, if it can identify this uniquely with just this many variable letters, then it's fine. So it can still stop it. Okay, it doesn't matter how much length you are giving for the container ID. Good. Now it stopped. Whenever it's printing you back the container thing, so it means the command is success. Now it is stopped, but it is not removed. Suppose if I type docker ps, it will not be displayed. Okay. Again, guys, you can type docker ps or docker container ps. Both are same, right? So okay. So now it is not displayed, but it is not completely removed. Suppose if I say docker ps -a indicates all. It will also show you all the containers even in the stopped state. Okay, this docker container ps will only tell what is the container that is in running state. This is stopped. Okay, so it is listing me all the containers in the stopped state. Okay, guys, in your case you will not see all these things because my docker is a little clumsy. I have a lot of things doing, so it will have all these things, but you are interested in only this is still there. So I want to even remove this. Okay, so to remove this, I have to type docker container rm, or you can mention docker container rm. Okay, or you can simply mention docker rm. Okay, and then you can mention the container id. But once you do this, it will be get removed. Okay, now we will get rid of this particular container, and let me do a docker ps now. You will not have anything, and let me do a clear screen so that we'll have, so we'll start afresh. Again, there is, again, I don't have to pull it because it's already there. Even if I pull it, it's okay. Again, I am doing two step, right? We are creating the container. Okay, again, you can use docker container create or just create. Okay, so you are creating the container and then you are starting it. Instead, you can directly use a command called run. So last time we did a pull, and then we first pulled the image, then we created the container, then we started the container. Right? Instead of these three steps, you can directly mention docker run or docker container run. Right? So if you're okay, you can type docker container run. Okay, this is the best practice. Okay, so that you can understand what it is. But while running it, okay, you need to tell. Okay, previously we had a problem. Okay, we didn't link these two things. Okay, now we are linking our local host 4444 to the container port 4444. It doesn't mandatory these two ports needs to be same. Again, you can link a 4445 port to a 4444. That's okay. Okay, 4445 to 4444. That's absolutely fine. But the thing is, you cannot change this because this is how the Docker guys have, the Selenium guys have exposed their port. Okay, so you cannot change this, but you can still change this particular guy. Okay, so this one you can link a 4445 to 4444. That's possible. Good. Now let's go here. Docker container run. This time I am doing a port mapping. To do the port mapping from your local to the container, you just type hyphen p and then mention, okay, what is the local host port. I'm going to link my 4444 to 4445. Okay. Once you do this, you know, you just need to mention what is the container that, using which image I want to create this particular container. So again, the container name, the image name is standalone-chrome. This time, when you type docker ps, it'll clearly tell us, okay, this time it has started and this particular Selenium server went on to listening mode. And if you notice, I cannot type something here because this CMD, went to a listening mode. This container went to a listening mode. So I have to obviously create a new command prompt. Okay, go here. Okay, and let's just type docker ps. Okay, this time it is printing me. Okay, see, there is a port 4444 from your local is now linked to, no, it's 4445. Sorry guys, I think we did something wrong. Okay, okay, I think I have created a container incorrectly, so I need to map it to 4444. So there is a wrong again I have committed a mistake. Let's quickly delete this. Okay, Docker stop. Okay, and then again, guys, if you notice, this container ID is something that is very dynamic. So it is very hard for me to remove this, remember this, copy it, and then paste it like this. Okay, this is very hard for me. So maybe next time when I create, I can create it with the help of a name. I can name a particular container. Okay, you can either use a name also to remove the container. Okay, suppose instead of this container ID, I can give the random name that it generated. Okay, see the name, it's very weird, right? Angry Napier. Okay, good. So now let's wait for that to stop. Once it is stopped, okay, you can also remove. And then you use it for remove also, you can use the same name. Instead of naming it like this, you can give your own name. Okay, that's what we're going to do now. So sorry guys for the error. Now again we'll type Docker container. Okay, instead of start and create and start, I'm using run, and then I'm doing a port mapping from 4444 to 4444. Okay, once we do this, we can also name. Okay, hyphen name, give the name. Suppose I want to name it as Rajini, so you can name it as Rajinikanth. But here I can just naming it as um, maybe cell grid, something like this. Okay, and then I'm just telling what is the image: Selenium slash standalone hyphen Chrome. And again, I'm trying to cover a lot of concepts here, guys. So previously we have a problem that it's generating random ID and random name, which is very hard for me to imagine. So that's why I'm this time I'm naming it as Selenium grid. And the reason why I'm doing the port mapping is that because we need to make a link between my local, because my test is in local, right? I need to, my test is in local. I have to delegate the particular test, which I'm pointing here to this particular port. That's why I'm doing that. Okay, good. Once you do these two things, okay, previously you notice it went to listening mode, so I cannot use that command prompt anymore. So to avoid that, I can also add hyphen d in the front, so that it'll be, running in the background, all the process that happen, that goes in the background, and you can still use this command prompt for the operations. Good. Let's try to run this particular test, sorry, particular command. Now, if you notice, the all the logs that it generated, it went to the background. Suppose if you want to see the logs previously what it displayed, you can just type Docker container logs. I want to see the logs, right? It's more easy. Again, if you don't know what to do, just type hyphen help, guys. So what are all the command that I can perform with container? Okay, if you want to know about that, you can also do Docker container hyphen help. See, it is telling if you want to attach to the container, yes, you can do this. If you want to commit, if you want to do copy files and stuff, you can do that. You can use inspect to know about the container status and other stuff. Okay, if you want to see the logs, fetch the logs for the containers. Okay, so if you want to kill a container, you can also use. Again, the difference between kill and stop is, stop is more gracefully killing it, and killing is something, it doesn't look for anything, and it'll go and suddenly it will kill. Okay, it will not wait for all the process to complete and other stuff. Good. Now, if you want to rename it, you can. If you want to restart it, you can do that. All these things you can do. But for now, I am interested in fetching the container logs. Container logs. Okay, what is the container that you are interested? This time I don't have to give the ID at all, because I have named the container cell grid. Okay, cell grid. Actually, this is not a grid, but somehow I named this as grid. It's okay. If you notice, this is the one that generated before, right? So it's telling this particular Selenium server is up and running on 4444. Now let's try to run this test. And before that, let's also check how this whole thing, um, is there. Okay, now local host 4444. Okay, you notice this is the local host 4444. This time I'm seeing something here. Okay, which means there is something, that is running. This particular Selenium standalone server is running in Docker, which I'm seeing it in local because I have done the port mapping. Click on this console. If you notice, there is no sessions now. Okay, when we try to run our test from Eclipse, okay, let's see whether it is executing or not. Run as test ng test. Again, I'm voluntarily waiting for 5 seconds so that we can see the changes. Okay, okay, just reload this. See, there is a new Chrome container. Okay, this is having some capabilities. So this is running my test on 88 version of the Chrome, because this is the latest version, the latest tag version. This is the platform is Linux, right? All these things, other properties, the page load timeout, the script timeout, all these things are displayed here. Okay, so I think the whole thing is, let me refresh the session. I think the session is complete, the Chrome is done. I think the test should have been passed. If you notice, it printed the title of the Google, and then the test got passed. Everything is working fine, guys. Now if I want to again run two tests, okay, this is two tests, right? So first let's try to run two tests in sequence. Again, guys, most importantly, put your driver, okay? So otherwise your operation will take a lot of time, right? At least the default timeout will take some two, I think 60 seconds maybe, to free up the browser. So it's always good practice to quit the driver, right? So now let's try to run the same, you know, this time it should run the test twice, okay? Again, guys, if you find the video a little slow, please change the playback settings to 1.5 or 2. Good. Now let me reload it. And if you notice, there is one Chrome here. Okay, it got done. And then the next Chrome. Okay, I think the second test is running now. I think good. Good. Yeah, I think both the tests got completed. But if you go to the logs, you can also see that first test, this is the second test, both got passed, and your test almost took, 16 point, 16 seconds, right? So almost the first took 9, and this one took 6. Again, if I want to run these things in parallel, okay. See, if you notice, I have created this particular class that count as 2. Let's try to run the two tests in parallel. Okay, it will still work, guys. So it will create two Chrome, you know, for you at the same time. Okay, you notice there are two Chrome here. One is this, one is this. Okay, this two will take care of both the things, and both of them are running on 88 version of the Chrome. Good. Now let's go to the Eclipse and then check what's happening. Okay, I think both the tests got passed, and this time the test got executed in parallel. You notice the total time is now 10 seconds, right? So almost 5 seconds we are doing the waiting, right? So yeah, that's fine. So the execution speed is almost same as your local browser. It can be fast, but it definitely cannot be slow. Okay, so this is what we are achieving, right? So without any use of our physical infra for Chrome, with just a simple command, just this is the only one command that we wrote. Just make sure that you understand this particular command. Again, this mentioning container is not mandatory, but other things are mandatory to know. Good. Now we have achieved this, right? We are running test in parallel, but if you notice, we didn't run our test in Firefox. Now I have a new requirement that I have to run this particular test in Firefox. Okay, let's try to run it now. Okay, obviously it will not run because the image itself, it's telling it's Selenium standalone Chrome, right? This is Selenium standalone Chrome, which will only help you to run test in Chrome. So obviously I'm trying to run it on um, you know uh, Firefox. It should fail. One test will pass because, yeah, so second test is failing because it cannot create a gecko driver service. So what is the problem? Then what I can do, I can still pull a new image called the Selenium standalone Firefox. Okay, but there is a problem because that Selenium standalone Firefox will also expose 4444, right? So what I have to do, okay, you will see all those things. What is the problem with this approach, all those things, and why we need to have something kind of a Selenium grid in our next session. But for now, just to understand what are the infra that we have now, cannot run the Firefox test. To run the Firefox test, we need to do some other change, right? So we will understand more about it in the next video. Until then, tata, bye bye.